Hello, team players. So, building a character around cooking has always been a pretty popular idea. But until now, we've never really had any way of doing that. I mean, sure, we could take alchemical food items with our alchemists, but now we actually have a full on archetype built around cooking. So, let's talk about it. I am, of course, talking about the wandering chef archetype. And of course, got to start with the dedication. You become trained in crafting, if you're not already, and you can use cookware instead of alchemical tools to create alchemical foods. In addition, when you subsist, you can use crafting or cooking lore in place of survival. Also, if you roll a failure on the check, you get a success instead. You also gain the quick alchemy benefits, but only for alchemical food items. And any items that you select with alchemical crafting must be food items. But these items can be first or second level instead of just first. You also gain 4 versatile vials you can use throughout the day. There are a few things you need to know about this dedication. First, this dedication does not give you the advanced alchemy benefits. But the next feat I'm going to cover does. Second, if you're already an alchemist or have quick alchemy in some other way, you get the higher of the two when it comes to versatile vials. And you can use them to create any item in your formula book. So if you're an alchemist already, then this archetype becomes so much better. But that's also how it works if you happen to, have the poisoner archetype or the herbalist archetype. So keep that in mind. Next up, we have morning side dishes. This is the feat that gives you the advanced alchemy benefits, and it also allows you to prepare up to 5 alchemical foods during your daily preparations. This feat may seem completely useless if you're an alchemist, but it is a prerequisite for a couple of feats that are pretty good in this archetype. So keep that in mind. So even if this particular feat doesn't do anything for you, you may still want to take it. However, if you're already an alchemist, I would definitely skip additional servings. But I will cover it. Your versatile vials go up to 5. In addition, at 12th and 18th level, you can take this feat again to increase your versatile vials by 1 each time you take it. This feat is completely useless for alchemists, as you're definitely going to have more versatile vials than that, just from alchemists. But if you're not an alchemist, this is one to pick up, as this is just more versatile vials that you can use to do more cooking. But remember that this feat requires expert in crafting or cooking lore, and of course the dedication. Which means you're going to have to put points into crafting in order to even take this feat. Now, remember how I said that morning side dishes was a prerequisite for certain feats? Well, next we have food preservation. Basically, when you use advanced alchemy to create an alchemical food, you can make it so that it doesn't expire at your next daily preparations. Initially, you can only have 1 item preserved in this way. However, if you're an expert in crafting, you get 2, 3 if you're master, and 5 if you're legendary. This means you can keep the really choice alchemical food items around for longer. But you do have to use this feat when you use advanced alchemy, which is probably going to be during your daily prep. But it is a bit situational since you don't know what you're going to run into when you use advanced alchemy. Feast Planner, on the other hand, is probably my favorite feat in this whole archetype. It's really good, but it has a major downside if you quickly fail on the main check. You'll see what I mean in a second. You gain the Fortifying Brew ritual, except you're creating a meal rather than drinks. You count as both the primary and a secondary caster. However, you can use crafting or cooking lore for both checks. If we look at Fortifying Brew, it takes 4 hours to cast and requires 25 GP worth of high quality ingredients and equipment. It takes 3 hours to make the meal, and which must be eaten within the next hour. That's when you make the primary and secondary checks. This creates a meal that is enough for 10 people to eat. On a critical success, everybody who ate the meal gains the effects of a 4th rank clear mind, sound body, and cleanse affliction. In addition, each of the eaters gains 20 temporary hit points that last for 12 hours and a +2 status bonus on saving throws against diseases and poisons. On a success, the temporary hit points are only 10 and you don't gain the bonus to saving throws. On a failure, the effect doesn't activate, but nothing else happens. And the critical failure is where this becomes dangerous. If you critically fail, all eaters become sickened to 4. In addition, they cannot reduce that condition for 12 hours. Luckily, if crafting or cooking lore is your highest skill, the chances of getting that critical failure effect are pretty low. In fact, you might not even be able to critically fail unless you roll a natural 1. So while the ritual is dangerous, this is a good feat to take, especially if you've got a lot of downtime. Next, we've got Packed with Flavor. Again, requires the dedication plus expert in crafting or cooking lore. When you create an alchemical food or magical morsel that requires a saving throw or grants an ability that requires a saving throw, you can change the DC to your class DC or spell DC. In addition, when a creature consumes a alchemical food, magical morsel, or potion created by you, they get 5 temporary hit points. 10 if you're a master in crafting. This is a fantastic way of getting more out of your alchemical items, especially if you're a Trojans alchemist, as that second part applies to potions as well. So that means your elixirs of life are going to heal even more. Next, we've got Cosmic Cocktail. Once per day, you can create a drink that allows you to have the effects of a True Sight spell for 10 minutes. Any counteract checks, you use crafting or cooking lore. Pretty situational feat here, as at level 14, you're not really going to run into too many situations where True Sight is going to be important. But hey, True Sight, not bad. Being able to see through illusions and stuff like that, pretty handy. And finally, we have Regional Specialty. This is the feat you want to take morning side dishes for. Basically, when you create an alchemical food using morning side dishes, you gain an additional benefit based on an element that you choose. Each of these has an immediate benefit and then a +3 bonus to saves against certain effects, depending on which one, for the next hour. If the alchemical food in question is an 18th or higher level item, then you get a +4 instead. I'm not going to go through all of these, but they're all good in the right situation. But for example, wood removes persistent bleed damage immediately and gives you a +3 bonus on saves against diseases and poisons. And fire reduces the clumsy condition by 1 immediately and gives a +3 bonus on saves against being doomed or frightened. But water has got to be the best immediate effect anyway. Reduce the frightened condition by 2. In addition, +3 on saving throws against being deafened or drained. Basically, using an action to get rid of the frightened condition in most cases is amazing. Because remember, these effects happen as soon as someone consumes the item. And this is in addition to the normal effects of the item. And that's the Wandering Chef archetype done. I do like to cook sometimes when I have the time, so I do understand the appeal of this archetype. In fact, I've tried to do a cooking character before, but with this archetype, pretty easy now. In fact, my next build is going to be a alchemist using this archetype. So if you guys are looking forward to that, go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to see what I have so far for my restricted crew party, you can check those out right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.